Financial independence through frugal living is very simple to understand. In fact, it's so simple that it can be fully explained in this video. But the question is, if it's so easy to get financial independence, then why do so few people accomplish it? Well, Graham Stephan, who achieved financial independence at the young age of 28, has revealed his top frugal living tips to gain financial independence. For those who don't know, Graham Stephan is a popular YouTube personality who is known for his frugal living and financial tips. But 10 years before he reached financial independence, he was working at an 8-to-5 data entry job. Graham hated this job to the point that he thought of having to work like this for 40 years. To retire was unbearably painful, so he switched his career to a real estate agent. It was during this time that Graham learned his first tip to financial independence. 1. Save your money. Graham Stephan realized the two fastest ways to financial freedom is to save money and to live below your means. In fact, there's an easy way to find out how long it'll take you to retire. Essentially, however much you spend every month versus how much you save will tell you in how many years you'll be able to retire. For example, if you spend 100% of your income, then obviously you'll never be able to retire because you're spending all of your money. If you save 20% of your income, then you'll be able to retire in 37 years and maintain your current lifestyle. If you save 40% of your income, then you'll be able to retire in 22 years. And if you save 75% of your income, then you'll be able to retire in 7 years. Understanding how much of your paycheck you need to save can help you get financial freedom in exactly the time frame you want. Graham managed to do this extremely quickly because he saved a huge portion of his paycheck. In fact, it allowed him to buy a rental property by the time he was 21 years old. However, it was natural for him to do this because he was brought up with frugality. But fortunately, frugality is for everyone, and you can adapt it however you like. 2. Cutting back expenses. You may be wondering what exactly Graham buying a rental property has to do with living below your means. Well, for those that don't know, housing is one of the biggest expenses the average American pays. For most people, this expense takes up around 30 to 50% of their annual income. But for Graham, his rental property allowed him to cut his housing costs to zero. The frugal tip of house hacking is when you buy a multi-family home, where you live in one unit and rent out the other ones. If this is done properly, then you can reduce the entirety of the cost down to zero, essentially giving you a free place to live. However, it's recommended that you have a 10 to 20% down payment on the home, because this will significantly reduce your mortgage payments, making it much easier to get your tenants to cover the cost of the housing. If this is unachievable for you, there are other two methods you can use for free living. The first is buying a single-family home, where you rent out rooms to other people. The other technique is called rent hacking. This technique is just like house hacking, but instead, you rent rooms on the rental property, or get roommates to help drop the cost down. With the biggest expense cut down, it's time to look at the second biggest expense. It's common knowledge that cars are expensive, but fortunately, Graham has another hack that can help you attain financial freedom. Car hacking is the act of buying any car at the bottom of its depreciation curve, driving it for a few years, and then selling what you paid for it. For example, you could buy a Honda or Toyota, which rarely loses value through depreciation. For $10,000, drive it for a few years, and resell it for the same price. This way, you're removing the cost of the vehicle entirely while driving an awesome car. Entertainment is another big stump to saving money, but with a little creativity and frugal discipline, you can easily cut your costs and continue having fun. For example, going for a night out can be extremely expensive. From travel to food to drinks, and to any other expense, it's normal to spend onwards of $100, but you can easily save money on drinks by buying the alcohol yourself and drinking before you go out. And for food, you can always eat at home, so you don't need to buy an entree dish at a restaurant, but a small side dish. Clothing is another major expense that can be cut, just like entertainment. For instance, designer brands are extremely pricey, and if you're not getting them at a seriously discounted price, then you're throwing away money that can help you find financial freedom. So, if you're looking to buy clothes, then make sure you buy quality fashion from cheaper suppliers like H&M or designer outlet stores, which are much cheaper. One of the most common expenses that can be tough for people to cut back on is traveling. For example, if you have family in a different country, or far enough away that you need to take a plane, obviously you don't want to cut out seeing your family. But there's a great way to help you potentially travel for free. This technique is known as credit card churning, which is when you sign up for credit cards that give you travel points. These can easily grow to the point that you can take round trips entirely with your points and even stay at fancy hotels without spending a cent. Cutting out as many expenses as you can in your life can get you to save up money quickly so you can retire early. But there's another major expense that you should opt to cut out as quickly as possible. 3. High interest debt. High interest debt is usually anything that has an interest rate of at least 5% or more. Typically, these debts are like credit card debt, student loans, or medical loans. In the worst cases, these loans will not only hold you back years, but sometimes even decades. For Graham, he realized the devastating effects of high interest debt has on anyone, so he always made sure to stay out of any debt unless it was low interest, fixed rate mortgage. So, to retire early, you need to clear out your debts, but you also need to make sure that you don't get back into debt. That being said, it's imperative to pay off your credit card bills on time, so you never have any interest to pay. Also, never take out a loan for something you can't afford. That means if you want to go to school or get a new car, you need to make sure that you can actually afford it before you consider it an option. When you're able to clear out your debts and steer clear from any new debt, then you'll certainly find yourself progressing to financial freedom much more quickly. 4. Investing. Investing is a very simple concept that's often made out to be much harder. Fortunately for us, Graham Stephan has given an easy-to-follow system to make sure that you're investing your money in the best way possible. Firstly, taking advantage of your non-taxable accounts like Roth IRA, 401k, and HSA will greatly benefit your ability to retire early and can help you worry less since they are tax-free accounts. Secondly, start investing in a stock market portfolio like a low-fee index fund. These funds track the general stock market, which averages about 10% per year. This is a great way to grow your money fast and easily. An example of a great start to investing is to make sure you be consistent and that a minimum of 20% is invested from every paycheck. This is an easy way to ensure that your portfolio is growing at a good pace. Now the question is, how do you know when you have enough to retire? Well, the safest way to ensure consistent money flow with retirement is known as the Trinity Study, or the 4% rules. But let's illustrate with some examples. Let's say that you need $50,000 to live every year. That means you need $1,250,000 in your portfolio to live without losing money. If you have a lifestyle that calls for $80,000 per year, then you would need $2 million in your portfolio to live without losing any money. Now let's say your lifestyle called for $200,000 per year. Then you would need $5 million in your portfolio to maintain that lifestyle. With this knowledge, you can now develop a goal in numbers for how big your portfolio needs to be so that you can maintain the healthy lifestyle of your dreams without having to work another day. However, it's important to know the best ways to apply the frugal tips in this video. We've thought about this and made a video about 10 frugal rules to live by. This way, you can have the real results you want.